I gave my own body to save my child's life. 3 days later, I stood outside his house with nowhere to go. If you've ever loved someone so deeply that you forgot about yourself, this story is for you. If you have ever wondered how quiet revenge can be stronger than loud anger, stay with me. Please take a moment to like this story, subscribe, and settle in. What I am about to share still lives in my bones. My name is Margaret. Most people just call me Mom. For most of my life, that was enough for me. I am 62 years old now, and my voice sounds softer than it used to. I speak slowly, not because I am weak, but because I have learned that some words need time. This story is not about hate. It is about love, loss, and the kind of strength you only find after everything familiar is taken away. I had one son, just one. His name is Daniel. From the moment I first held him wrapped in a thin blue blanket, my life folded itself around his. Every choice I made after that felt simple. If it was good for Daniel, it was good for me. I was not a perfect mother. I worked too much. I worried too much. I stayed quiet when maybe I should have spoken up. But I loved him in the purest way. I knew how, the kind of love. His eyes filled with tears. He hugged me so tight I could hardly breathe. "Mom, I can't let you do this," he said. I smiled and told him the truth. "You already did, the day you were born." Claire did not say much. She thanked me. Her voice was polite, but something in her tone felt distant, like gratitude mixed with relief. I ignored that feeling too. The test came back. I was a match. The doctor explained the risks slowly, carefully: pain, recovery, changes that would last the rest of my life. I nodded through all of it. I had lived my whole life around one heart. What was one kidney compared to that? The night before the surgery, I could not sleep. I lay in the hospital bed listening to machines beep softly. I was not afraid of dying. I was afraid of failing. I closed my eyes and thought of Daniel as a baby, the way his fingers wrapped around mine. Again, I nodded because my body hurt too much to argue. I nodded because I did not want to make this harder for him. "How long?" I asked. Daniel did not answer right away. Claire spoke instead. "We already packed your things," she said. "They're in the car." That was when something inside me went very still, not angry, not loud, just still. I thought of the tests, the needles, the cold room where I signed papers with shaking hands. I thought of waking up in pain and asking only about my son. And now my things were packed. Daniel finally looked at me then. His eyes were wet. "I'm sorry, Mom," he said. "I didn't think it would be like this." I smiled. I don't know how, but I did. "It's okay," I said. "Everything is okay." We drove to a small motel on the edge of town, one of those places with doors that open to the outside and thin curtains that never quite close. Daniel carried my bag inside. He set it down and stood there, unsure. "I'll call you," he said. I nodded. "I know." He left. The door closed softly behind him. I sat on the edge of the bed and listened to the silence. It was loud in that small room. I pressed my hand to my side and felt the ache, a reminder of what was missing. That night I did not cry. I stared at the ceiling and counted my breaths. I told myself he was overwhelmed. I told myself this was not rejection, just fear. Mothers tell themselves many things to survive. The next morning, my phone was quiet. No messages, no missed calls. I walked slowly to the bathroom, careful with every step. I looked at my face in the mirror. I looked older. I thought about calling Daniel. I decided not to. I had given him my kidney, now I would give him space. But deep down a small voice whispered that something was very wrong. 2 days passed, then 3. On the 4th day I felt dizzy and weak. My incision burned. I knew I needed to see a doctor. I called the transplant clinic. They told me to come in right away. I did not know it then, but that phone call would change everything. It would answer questions I was afraid to ask, and it would reveal a truth that neither my son nor his wife had told me. In the next part I will tell you what the doctor said, and why silence became the strongest thing I had left. The taxi ride to the clinic felt longer than it should have. Every bump in the road sent a quiet ache through my side. I held my bag on my lap and watched the city pass by, people walking fast, living their normal lives. Mine felt paused, like I was waiting for something I could not name. The clinic smelled the same as before, clean, sharp. The nurse recognized me right away. She smiled, then frowned when she saw my face. "You don't look well," she said gently. "I don't feel well," I answered. They took me to a small room and helped me onto the bed. The paper beneath me crinkled when I moved. My blood pressure was low. My pulse was fast. The nurse left to get the doctor. While I waited, I stared at the wall. There was a poster about organ donation, a smiling family, big words about love and sacrifice. I turned my head away. The doctor came in quietly. He was the same one who had eager to shake. I folded them together to keep them still. Your son's condition, he continued, was not as urgent as he believed. The words were simple, but they felt sharp. What do you mean? I asked. There were other treatment options, he said. Dialysis could have stabilized him for years. I swallowed hard. He told us, the doctor went on, that you insisted on donating immediately. I felt cold. I didn't insist, I whispered. I offered. The doctor nodded. I know, but that's not how it was presented. He leaned forward slightly. There is more. I closed my eyes, then opened them again. Please, I said, just tell me. The transplant moved forward quickly because your son and his wife were planning something, he said. Planning what? I asked. The doctor took a breath. They were planning to move. Out of state. The room felt smaller. They needed the surgery done before the move, he continued, and they needed you cleared out. I stared at him. My ears rang, cleared out like furniture. They did not want the responsibility of caring for you during recovery, he said, and they believed guilt would keep you quiet. Silence filled the room. I did not cry. I did not shout. I simply sat there breathing. How do you know this? I asked. Your daughter-in-law spoke freely, he said. She assumed we already knew. I thought of her careful smile, her polite thanks. My chest ached, but not from the surgery. So, I said slowly, they used my kidney. The doctor did not correct me. They benefited from your love, he said carefully, but they did not honor it. I looked down at my hands, hands that had held my son when he was small, hands that had signed the papers without hesitation. What happens now? I asked. We take care of you, the doctor said, properly. He arranged for a short stay at a recovery facility, a safe place, warm meals, nurses who checked on me. Before I left, he touched my arm gently. You are allowed to be hurt, he said. You are allowed to protect yourself now. I nodded. For the first time, I believed him. That night, lying in a clean bed with white sheets, I stared at the ceiling again. But this time, my thoughts were different. I did not feel weak. I felt awake. I thought about revenge. Not loud revenge, not cruel revenge, quiet revenge, the kind that grows from truth. I did not call Daniel. I did not send a message. Silence became my choice, and in the next part I will tell you how that silence changed everything. Without a single raised voice, the recovery facility was calm, too calm, some might say. But for me it felt like a soft pause. Nurses checked on me every few hours. They spoke gently. They explained things slowly. No one rushed me. No one asked me to be grateful. Each morning, sunlight came through the window in thin lines. I learned the pattern of it on the floor. I learned how to sit up without wincing. I learned how to breathe again without feeling like I owed someone something. Days passed, then weeks. My phone stayed quiet at first. I did not reach out. Silence, I realized, was not punishment, it was protection. On the 10th day, my phone rang. Daniel's name appeared on the screen. I watched it ring until it stopped. My heart hurt, but my hands stayed still. He called again the next day, and the day after that. Then the messages came. Mom, are you okay? Please call me. We're worried. I read them all. I answered none. I was not trying to hurt him. I was trying to hear myself for the first time in years. The doctor encouraged me to write things down, thoughts, feelings. So I did. I wrote letters I never planned to send. I wrote about the night Daniel was born, about his first steps, about the way he used to run into my arms after school. I wrote about the surgery, about the cold fear and the warm hope, and I wrote about being asked to leave. Something strange happened as I wrote. The pain softened, not disappeared, just softened, like a bruise that no longer screams when touched. One afternoon, a nurse handed me an envelope, no return address. Inside was a short note. Mom, we're moving next week. Please talk to me before then. I folded the paper carefully and placed it back inside. I did not cry. I realized then that my revenge was already happening, not because I planned it, but because truth has weight. They could not escape what they did. They could only carry it with them. On my last day at the facility, the doctor met with me again. He smiled. You're stronger than you think, he said. I know, I replied. And I did. I moved into a small apartment after that, just one bedroom, one window. It was mine. I placed a small plant by the window and watched it grow. Daniel called less often after the move, then hardly at all. Claire never called. I did not chase them. I did not beg. I let distance do what arguments never could. Months later, I received a message. Mom, I don't feel well. The doctors are concerned. I read it slowly. I wished him health. I did not offer myself again, because love does not mean self-destruction, and sacrifice without respect is not love. In the final part, I will tell you how this story ends, with forgiveness that came, quietly, and a lesson that stayed. Time has a way of smoothing sharp edges, not erasing them, just making them easier to touch. It has been 3 years now since the surgery. 3 years since I stood outside my son's house with nowhere to go. I still feel the empty space inside my body, but I no longer feel empty inside my heart. Daniel did get better, at least for a while. The kidney worked, the doctors did their part, but something else in his life never healed, and I believe now that it was not his body that hurt the most, it was his conscience. We spoke again eventually, not right away, not when he wanted, but when I was ready. He called one evening, his voice quieter than I remembered, tired. "Mom," he said, "I think I made a terrible mistake." I listened. I did not rush him. I did not interrupt. He told me about the move that did not go well, about a marriage that cracked under stress, about nights when he lay awake thinking about the day he asked me to leave. "I see it now," he said. "What I did, I closed my eyes and breathed." "I know," I replied. "I always knew you would." He asked for forgiveness, not in a dramatic way, just honest. "I don't deserve it," he said. I agreed with him, and then I forgave him anyway. Forgiveness did not mean forgetting. It did not mean going back. It meant letting go of the weight I was still carrying. I forgave him for myself. We speak sometimes now, short calls, careful words. There is love there. But it has boundaries. And boundaries, I learned, are not walls. They are doors you choose when to open. Claire never reached out again. I do not wonder why some people can accept gifts, but they cannot accept responsibility. That is not my burden anymore. My life is quiet now, peaceful. I wake up early. I drink my tea slowly. I water my plant by the window and watch it lean toward the light. Sometimes I think about revenge, and then I smile. Because the revenge I imagined when I was hurting was never the revenge I needed. I did not take anything from them. I did not shame them. I did not expose them. I simply stepped back and lived well, and that, I learned, is the quietest revenge of all. If there is one lesson I want you to take from my story, it is this. Love should never require you to disappear. Sacrifice should never erase your worth. And silence, when chosen with strength, can speak louder than any argument. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like it. Share it with someone who might need to hear it. And tell me in the comments. Have you ever strength in choosing silence? Subscribe for more real stories like this. Stories of quiet courage, soft endings, and hope that returns slowly. Thank you for listening.